Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome. If you're joining me for the first time, I usually read things that are twisty, dark, disturbing, things of that nature. So typically horror, but like I said, anything if the plot is wicked enough. So today I am here with the books that I read in the last half of February. This should be a rather short wrap up for my stats this month. This is for the total books read in February. I read 11 books. One of them I did end up DNFing, so I guess I read 10 books and DNF'd one. 9 of these were off of my TBR this time, so that is excellent. I read 3,007 pages, which is about 111 pages per day. The oldest book I read came out in 1967, and the most recent was a new release, so that came out in 2025. In total this month, I read 9 horror books, 1 fantasy, and 1 science fiction. Please do not ask me how many times I had to repeat myself just now. It's been, oh my god, it's been a time. It's been a time recently. We've just all been kind of sick all month. I don't know if we're passing it back and forth to each other because it seems kind of different. Zach's been really sick for 3 weeks. He was sick, and then he had maybe 4 days where he was starting to feel better, and then it got even worse. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him. He won't go to the urgent care. He won't let me take him to urgent care. I've been pretty okay. I got a little bit sick in the middle of the month and felt kind of bad for 2 days. And that was when Zach was sick. So I figured he just gave me whatever he had. But then last night, it was kind of funny because his mom texted me and asked how everyone was doing. And I was like, everyone's a lot better. And then an hour later, I was finishing up some journal stuff at my desk. And I was like, oh, my throat is kind of sore. And then I stood up from sitting and I was like, wow, my body kind of hurts. And then last night, it was just terrible, horrible headache, body aches, the chills, shivering, but also being too warm, and just waking up sweating, and then waking up because I'm fucking freezing, and I slept like shit last night. It was terrible, but I'm feeling a little bit better this morning. Obviously, I don't think I'd be filming if I felt that bad, but I took some ibuprofen and that helped a little bit, but it's I don't know what the fuck is wrong with us. I'm sick of it. I think I jinxed us because I said to Zach at the beginning of this month or the end of last month, I was usually we get one good sick in the winter, and we haven't had that this winter. And then it happened. Anyway, so I haven't gotten a lot of reading done. I've been caretaking. So I got my big old cup of caffeine here. And I'm gonna tell you about the books that I read. Thank you for listening to me vent about being a little sicky. So first here, I'd like to tell you about The Green Kangaroos by Jessica McHugh. This came out in 2014. And this I pulled out of, I think, my TBR jar this month. It was one of my random picks. Yeah, it was my TBR jar. And you know what? I like this. This is a sci-fi horror, but not outer spacey, more futuristic sci-fi. Oh, what can I tell you about this? I really liked the way that this played out. I thought that was really unique. And also because of that, I feel like I can't really get into a ton of what is happening here, but we're following a man named Perry who's a drug addict. In the future, this drug is called Atlas, and I think this takes place in 2099, so at the very end of our century right now. Crazy. And he's just he's so far gone. He does not want to not be an addict. He his day consists solely of trying to find ways to get high. And his family and his ex-fiance or ex-wife, I think, are really sad, but like they just think that he's gone. Like they've helped and helped as much as they could, and he just doesn't want to be helped. And there's a lot more to this than just that simple synopsis, but with the way that this story unfolds, I can't give you too much information without ruining someone's maybe future reading experience. But I really enjoyed where this went. It was a lot of like crazy, over the top fun. There's a lot of talk about genitals in this, a lot of stuff like that. But I had a lot of fun with it. Not like my most favorite book I've ever read, but like a solid, if I were to give it a star rating, like 4 stars. It was a weird one. And I don't know if I really love the ending, but whatever, you know, it was still fun. Then, published in 1967, we have Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. This is going to be my next of my 50 favorites books, so look out for that. That's all I have to say about this for now because I'm saving it for my video. Hopefully I'll have time to do that today. But it's just such a good book. One of the best endings in like a horror novel. It's just so good. Love it. Then we have a book from 2016. This is Pressure by Brian Keene. And this is the book that came up when I picked from my bookshelves. This was the book I've owned for the longest on that shelf. I'm pretty sure. But either way, it doesn't really matter because I ended up DNFing this. I read maybe like 30 or 40 pages over like 4 days. So I think that's a good indicator that like it wasn't picking up. It wasn't interesting me. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't interesting me. That sounds wrong when I say it. It was not of interest to me. Oh God, my brain is just gorked today. But this is supposed to be about these people exploring like this trench or chasm that has opened up in the middle of the ocean. These divers, and at the very beginning, there are 2 divers down there, like when you come into the story, and only one comes out. So you're like, what happened to the second diver? But I don't know. I guess don't care. So that's fine. I mean, now I know that this is a book that I'm going to find a new home for. I also read The Spite House by Johnny Compton this month. This came out in 2023. And this is kind of a haunted house story, or at least like I thought that's really what the focus was going to be on when I went into this. But it really actually is more focused on like the people in this book. But we're following a man named Eric and his 2 daughters. And you know that they're kind of on the run at this point in the story, but you don't know why. And it doesn't seem like anything illegal has happened. So like, what's going on? And he needs to find a way to make easy money, or a way to make money that can't really be tied to him, you know? So he's been taking jobs under the table, things like that. But of course, a lot of those jobs don't pay very well. And he comes across this opportunity to make a large amount of money by simply staying in this spooky house. And I can't remember if it says, I can't remember if there's like a time period for this, like stay in this house for a week. I feel like there's not. It's just like this woman Eunice wants proof of the supernatural in this house. So she's just been hiring people to go stay in the house, and nobody's made it past a couple of days, but also nobody's given her like irrefutable proof that there's something going on here. So Eric takes this job with his 2 daughters, and is there ghosts? But this is also like less about the haunted house and more about like maybe a haunted family, you know? But I don't know. I thought that I did really like this initially. I thought that the mystery of it all, like, what are they running from? What do they have to hide? They keep alluding to something going on with one of the daughters, and I really wanted to know what was up with that. And eventually, it came to the point where it's like they didn't out and out tell you, but you can kind of guess what's going on. And then, like, once it's all revealed, I just kind of lost interest in what was going to happen in the rest of the book, because there is still, some shit going on. I also felt like there was like a needless POVs. And so that made it feel jumpy and choppy. And it's like some of these, sure, the woman Eunice, like what's up with her? It'd be a good POV to have. But do we really need to have like 7 POVs in this story? I don't know. I just thought that this was okay after all. Personally, I think that this would have been... I would have enjoyed it more, I guess, if the haunted house had been more active, maybe. And finally, the book I enjoyed most this month. This is Dearest by Jacquie Walters. This came out in 2024, and this was on, I believe, my most anticipated list for last year. Yeah, and I really was surprised by how much I liked this. I think the end kind of got away from itself, but the rest of the story I found so compelling and like disturbing and like poignant and sad. This is about first-time mother Flora, and she is raising her infant by herself at this time because her husband is in the military and he's being deployed. So he's across seas. She is trying to figure out how to be a mom. And it's so hard at first. It's really hard. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to do it. You don't know if what you're doing is wrong. You just like have... I mean, I feel like most people, as first-time parents, doubt everything that they do, right? So this is what's happening. And to top that off, the sleep deprivation is really starting to weigh on Flora. She loves her baby very much, but she needs some help. And she writes an email to her mother, her estranged mother, just talking about how she had a baby because she hasn't talked to her mom in some time. She, telling her that her daughter's been born and just kind of trying to make light. I don't know. It's like she's trying to ring an alarm bell without actually ringing an alarm bell. She's like, haha, this is hard. Does it get any easier? Wish I could get some sleep, haha. And then she sends this email to her mom, and then her mom shows up at her house. And strange things start to happen. Flora isn't sure, like, if this is sleep deprivation, like what is real and what is not. She's having a hard time with reality. Not only that, but a young girl who used to be her imaginary friend when she was much, much younger starts showing up. And so she's got this little imaginary friend from when she was a kid hanging out too, which I'm sure doesn't help her when she's questioning if she's going insane or not. But yeah, I thought that this was just really a really interesting look at early motherhood. It's hard, and I think this book really encapsulates that very well. Like these conflicting feelings of like loving your child so much, being so unsure about yourself, wanting to scream and cry because it's really hard and you don't get any sleep, things like that. So I thought that this was really good. And this unfolds in a way that like was very surprising to me at some points. It was like, holy shit, I never guessed that this is what was going on. But I feel like the climax of the story kind of got messy and weird, and I don't know, like I think that this could have potentially been like an all-time favorite if not for the ending. But I don't know. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And I really enjoyed that book though, even though the ending was kind of goofy. Anyway, thank you for watching today. Those are the books that I managed to finish in the second half of February. I would love to know if you've read any of these, what you thought about them, what you really enjoyed picking up this month, and that is it for today. Thank you. Goodbye.